podcast you listen. This is what's going to get us over 200 views right here. MC is people fighting during golf.
So Tiger Woods with a headlock.
So I saw a news.
If it is, that would be hysterical. I wish it was.
All right, get your microphone closer.
Yeah, sorry.
So the
swallow your microphone.
The funniest thing was, it was on a news. I was on the treadmill at the gym, and I saw golf wars, and it's talking about people fighting. I don't know if you've noticed a lot, if you do a lot of social media, if you watch a lot of social media, there's been a lot of videos of people fighting at the country clubs, and they're brawling to the point where people are filming them. And the latest one was a Fox News one, and it was an MMA fighter brawls with a dad at an Oklahoma golf course. And basically says the day of the golf course turned ugly when MMA fighters and civilians at Bailey Ranch Golf Course in Oklahoma started brawling. And so it says the video shows different brawls breaking out. And I think I've seen this one several times. And it's on Twitter. So I don't know if we're going to get blocked for this. What do you think?
Is this violent? They probably will block us.
It's not violent. Not like
it's just a bunch of
patty
cake slaps or something.
No, you've seen this video before, and
this
you've had to have seen this video. Let's see, make sure my microphone's working. You sound really vague, so make sure you got your
I'm hooked up, as far as my knowledge.
All right, there it is. There's the fight. And so if you see, here's the action, play by play. There's dudes over there just, okay, first of all, there's a guy in a pink shirt just brawling. Look at him just getting ready to kick him. So then you see this guy just get clocked. Boom, right in the back of the head. Then he drops this dude. I don't know if this is the MMA fighter, but he drops this dude with a glancing blow to the head. Drops the guy to his knees, and the guys over here on the right are just like, I didn't know we were actually fighting. I thought we were just pushing and shoving. And then he drops this guy, and this guy, you could tell he's out because look how he falls, like he's just on, like he's doing like a weeble wobble, falling right on his face. His foot's in the air. His foot's like shot up in the air, and then he just goes to the ground. So the guy steps in, getting ready to go for a hammerlock or something, I guess. I don't know what he's going to do next. He's going to get him in a figure four.
Why? Why are they fighting? What is the whole point? Is this Shooter McGavin out there and fucking Happy Gilmore? Remember when he bust the bottle? All right, let's go. He's like, on the golf course.
I don't know. I really don't know the whole thing. But I'm losing the internet. So, anyways,
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit? No. Right. No.
We're gonna have to fix your audio. I think we may have.
I don't know what's happening. It looks like everything's plugged in.
I may have to have you rejoin.
It might be the alternate universe meme. Fucked everything up.
Yeah, this fight broke out.
Like we haven't moved.
The funniest one is look at this picture. This dude's getting beat up where his shoes came off. Like,
what the fuck is going on with this shit? What are they know. Just serving fucking roids in the lounge or something before they go out to golf?
So, anyways, I was watching these videos.
We spiked this drink with some steroids. Let's see what they do now. What the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, they're just kicking each other's asses. So, anyways, so I was looking. So this came out, and then they started talking about more fighting, and then it says crazy fight on golf course over slow play ahead. So this is a YouTube video. And then
Yeah, that's not surprising considering people do get angry.
and so here's this video. I got to show you this. And this one is dudes are just brawling. Now they're over golf. It's supposed to be fucking relaxing. But for some reason, people are just like, you know what? Fuck you. And they're gonna
So
fight.
glad I don't play golf.
And just looking at this incident, I'll delete the look at these dudes just brawling like so these guys are all just
Just looks unnatural. That's what was the appeal of Happy Gilmore the movie. It was just unnatural picturing people brawling on a golf course, excuse me.
it just yeah, it just seems so just wrong.
Yeah.
But
Like it's an
anyways,
old
these dudes
like
look
it's supposed to
at
be an
this
old man's game.
it's just dude, watch this dude run.
The
This guy in the
popo is here, so he
this
takes
guy in
off
the red
running.
shirt, this guy in the red shirt takes off. Watch.
There's the police.
he just runs off like all
Someone just said the police were there and he takes off.
all I wanted to do was just play some golf. So
Fucker had it coming.
anyways,
You skipped ahead. Motherfucker.
it
How dare you skip ahead?
it just seemed wrong. So anyways,
Hey, if people wanted to skip ahead when we were shitty golfing before Buddy got married years ago, who gives
Yeah.
a fuck? Let them skip ahead. We suck anyways. That's how I felt. Didn't give a shit.
that's
Why do
funny.
you guys? Why what's taking it so seriously? Ah, fuck, we suck so bad now. We got to wait for them going in there.
I just don't understand why you would want to get into a big old fight over it. I mean, it just seems like it's not really worth the aggravation. I think I would just be like,
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, okay, you're trying to get what's that old term? You're getting a quick 9 at the links or some shit like that. Like they would say, okay, you got shit to do. You're trying to get a quick game of golf in there. What are you doing? Like, are you on the PGA Pro? Is like if you skipped a hole or you couldn't finish the thing, like suddenly you can't brag to your friends you had a par 2 or whatever the hell. Like, who gives a fuck? Unless you're a pro, none of it really matters. What are you gonna say? Like, if I hit 300 in a bunch of softball balls in a batting cage, who the fuck cares? Like, nothing really matters. Like, this is just seems so silly.
I just think it's funny that this is the
13
this is the it's like I went to play golf and then a fight broke out.
I went to a fight and a golf game broke out.
Yeah, it just sounds so dumb. To be like, you know what? I just went to a golf game and a fight broke out over it. And then it's funny. It reminds you of remember when Goldberg went out there and threw someone in the water and they was supposed to be looking like it was like a golf. It was supposed to look like it was a golf incident or something like that. Like
Goldberg did this?
You didn't see that?
No, what is it, a movie that Goldberg stars in?
Here it is right here. So here's the YouTube video. I'll show it to you. So someone went out there and they were kind of like he was in a golf tournament. I guess
Oh,
you could say, and he was doing a like a tournament, and then someone thought it would be a good idea, exploit the wrestler. Let's get someone out there to make him look stupid. And so they have this guy come out and act like he's punching him. And then he grabs him. And this funny thing is, I don't think this guy realized he was going to throw him so hard, but
I think I did see that once.
he chucked his ass so bad into the water. This guy looks like a circus clown anyway.
Yeah, he looked like he's throwing a child in there.
Yeah, he's hoping that
fuck?
it was not very shallow down there because shit, man, that would have been bad news if that was like a rock right there. It would have went from funny to horrible. So
his head bounced off a rock. Goldberg killed somebody in a golf prank gone wrong.
Body's just floating there.
Yeah, it's just a puddle of blood over it. Okay.
It's like,
Game's
go ahead.
over, folks.
It's funny. Wait,
laugh. Laugh, clown.
So, good segue into the next part of our show is
just
Laugh
thought about that.
Clown. We get into Doink the clown from I've been watching the Dark Side of the Ring.
How many episodes have there been now? 4?
There's 4. But the problem with it is it's not been very interesting. And like I told you, one of them was the dude that was in it was actually alive. And I thought, well, this is weird. That was the one you said. What was the guy's name?
Oh, that was Magnum TA episode. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
he
that
was
was
still.
I think that was episode 2. First it was the Sonny and Chris Candido, then Magnum TA. The Graham stuff I didn't finish. I'm still recovering, but like during that one, I think I just zonked out because I mean I know of the story, but I think there was like suicides in that episode, right? And
Yeah,
then this
just
this is
it.
4. This is the 4th one.
Yeah. So then I watched and I started thinking, I Dark Side of the Ring. I'm a wrestling fan. I like watching wrestling shows and I think it's getting a little bit too jumping the shark until they got to Doink the Clown, because then this is something that goes back to the Dark Side of the Ring. Like this is something that where you're like, this makes sense that this is probably, dark side of wrestling. And I didn't realize there was 3 Doink the Clowns after the first original Doink the Clown. But you wrote to me last night. You said that it was amazing that he had people that still loved him. But you saw his second wife. Like she looked she looked rough. And so she was like, he punching me in the face and I punch him back or whatever the hell it was. I took the kids. And then
Yeah, that was. I
third,
think that's just sad. I mean, most of that stuff. Obviously, clearly, he didn't remember doing those things, which is really just a sad thing when
well,
abuse is.
it's
I mean,
alcohol and
addiction.
drugs, right? It's
Addiction
addiction.
is leading to abuse because then they're no longer who their normal character is, and that's what I meant by that. Like, surprisingly, in the end, the fact that he not only died, but then the legacy left to them is that they remembered as much good things about him as they could, not the horrible person he was when he was on whatever drugs or alcohol he was on, because clearly those were what were killing his relationships. And I don't know how much he did with the third wife in there, because then they were accusing her of killing him. And I don't really think that was the case either. I think that was just unfortunately, the shit caught up to him. I don't know about you. I don't know what you thought of the end.
I thought it was exactly that. I think it was like
Yeah.
they accused her of not being a responsible adult. But remember this,
Yeah.
the scene that they're in, they're both on drugs and alcohol, and they're both drinking and doing drugs. And so I don't think it was anything that it would be like a high school party where someone ODs on alcohol and then they're like, well, why didn't you save them? It's like, well, you're a bunch of people being irresponsible too. So
Yeah.
I think the thing about this that's amazing is it shows how much a persona of a wrestler like Jake the Snake, like if you see Beyond the Mat, when they do the Jake the Snake and they follow that guy around, you realize how much of their life is engulfed in this entire career that they've invested in to be this person. And then when it gets taken away from them, how they don't have any identity anymore. And now they're lost and they don't know what to do. And they don't realize because they're adults that they think, well, you need to be an adult and just do go back to being an adult. The problem is this is their whole life. This is what they chose to do. And like I told you, his whole life was to follow in his father's footsteps. And that seemed to be a part of it too. Like that seemed to be a problem.
Yeah, that actually aspect of what you said, actually, they were actually doing some good stuff with that when he was briefly in ECW, when he was playing. He couldn't do Doink, but good for him that he was able to negotiate his residuals back, because that is things, that a lot of those wrestlers get screwed over by what happens in WWE. But so he got his residuals back, and then then he became what they called Born again. That was his, kind of his wrestling name originally, Matt Bourne. So then he was kind of playing a fractured personality of a man who doesn't know who he is anymore. He can't be the clown. He's not all the clown, so it was really a dark version of the man behind the mask, so to speak, that ECW did. I think that was probably some of his best work there, but clearly the man, I mean, I never, I didn't even really remember, to be honest with you, as a wrestling fan, that I'd forgotten at least, his match with Ricky Steamboat that his daughter was talking about. And you look at him there, he's in great shape. He's keeping up with Steamboat. And this is a guy who's clearly super talented at what he was doing. The dark Doink, the first Doink that he portrayed, obviously, that was the best version of Doink. You could see him go from laughing to crazy in his facial expressions. I mean, the Doink character was able to live on because of what he established. So even though he became a cartoon, actually a real goofy clown, the third guy who's portraying him, Ray Apollo, I think is who he was. So
Yeah.
the second one was just supposed to be Skinner, Steve Kieran. He was just playing him to be a double, but I think they knew, like they said, kind of hinted at it on the Dark Side of the Ring episode, where they kind of knew he was probably under the influence, and they probably knew they were going to release him when they introduced Skinner, and he probably knew it was coming too. But like some of the shit he was doing, dude, like that when he attacked B. Brian Blair, that was just some sick shit. Like he just kept coming after him, and
when he was talking
that
that
was just like
his lip or whatever.
Yeah, that was just nuts. And then the thing with Duggan, I was cracking up too with Foley. I mean, like Foley's describing, there's nobody in the wrestling world that has ever had a problem with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And he was describing that. Yeah, it was just like, he couldn't even say that without a straight face, like how ludicrous that was, that he actually held on to a grudge for that many years of Hacksaw. And it's just clearly,
I like how Hacksaw does like wrestling terms, like, you want to shoot or you want to run. Like, people are watching this, don't really understand anything you're fucking saying. So
and then he just leaves, goes out the door, and he's his bag like, fuck the fads, fuck this match.
Yeah,
I just wanted to try to get back at Hacksaw, and I'm getting in my car and driving away. Clearly, sadly, Matt Osborne, aka Matt Bourne, aka Doink, had some serious issues, unfortunately. And yeah, this is, I mean, it's just, these episodes are sad no matter how you look at them.
When you watch these Beyond the Ring stuff or Dark Side of the Ring, do you get sad by all these, watching all these characters that you watched as a kid have all these bad things that happen, or do you really are you interested in this stuff? Like, do you find it
what tears me up more when I see about those things is, and that's why I mentioned this stuff with his family, is just how much that affects them. But I think what kind of tug at me a little bit was just how much they still love them despite all the shit he did, and I felt like, well, shit, man, like, regardless of what happened, at least, I mean, the legacy he leaves behind obviously are those kids and everything, but he touched. And unfortunately with those unfortunately with those, well, I'll probably phrase that wrong.
Touched them emotionally,
the lives they touched, that's what I meant, obviously. But like, the wives obviously have a reason to hate his guts, having abused them like he did. But like the kids are left behind without a dad, and they're, basically they idolized him. So you look at that and you see, well, shit, they really did care about him, and they do miss him. And the fuck, did he deserve that? Arguably, you could make a case and say this guy really didn't seem like a great person when you look at all the shit he was done in or outside the ring. He's starting fights, he's doing all this other shit, he's abusing women, even though he's claiming I don't remember that. It's just not a good person.
Remember this is the persona that he has, that he's a part of. Again, when we look at this Dark Side of the Ring, this TV show, it's Dark Side of the Ring. These characters are in this type of environment. So it's kind of like when you say professional athletes, like when you're in an aggressive sport, you're an aggressive person. So when you're an aggressive person, sometimes that carries over outside of your profession. And so people say, well, then they're a bad person. But you got to remind yourself that the type of environment that he's in, and a lot of these incidents that they reminded you that happened amongst his peers. It didn't just always happen like at home. It didn't just happen like he wasn't walking through the mall and just attacked people. He just always had violent actions at the wrestling world of the bar.
Well, he did take it home. That was the problem. He did take it home.
Then he took it to his wife. But then we see the part of when he was having issues. It was during the dark side of the time that he was fucking getting screwed over. And so,
Yeah, and
yes.
and I understand what you're trying to say, although it may be an outsider who might not be like, because I know you played a lot of high level sports. The argument would be that I would say, okay, to this, if you can't control this, then maybe these sports, wrestling included, entertainment, all that stuff, needs to do a better job helping these people with the mental adjustments of maybe losing your job at a high level, either to injury or your own demons or whatnot. Maybe mental health has to be given a priority in insurance wise, so these people can clearly get the help they need so they can readjust back to their lives instead of just the high impact aggressive sport that they're used to doing maybe most of their lives up to that point. So if you get a crippling injury and you can't play anymore, or if you left at a high level because your own idiocy or something, or maybe something else happened, yeah, there's going to be a mental adjustment because now you're in your own head, but you're going to have to adjust. I don't give a crap what your profession aggressiveness was. You don't do some of the shit that this guy did.
No,
Clearly he was under influence of something that was unfortunately causing him to do that stuff, because it didn't sound like he was that natural person like you were saying, because that time he visited the person he abused, his ex-wife or whatever, wife at the time, he didn't even, oh, did I do that too? Like, dude, you need help. You need serious help. And maybe these leagues need to invest in that.
That's what they need to do. They need to start investing in mental health, mental counseling, because sometimes people take their persona too far and they go into this type of world where I think that honestly probably could have been changed if he would have had more stability on the other side. But they're just treating him like, again, the wrestling world's treating them just like, you're part of the talent. And if you're no longer needed, then they just kind of throw them off to the side. And I think it creates a lot of problems. All right, back.
Well, the other problem, we'll just finish this up, real quick, is the other problem with a lot of that stuff, and this even ties into other sports too, is there's not enough probably financial counselors that is probably being, I don't want to say forced, but strongly encouraged, because say they had it, someone hopefully would tell Matt, aka Doink, hey, listen, dude, you don't need to be spending all this money in a Doink engravement on your bathtub when this can all end tomorrow.
Yeah,
you might want to be careful with your money and not, feel like with some of those terms like hillbilly rich or whatever you want to call it, just the things where you spend all your money real quick when you get some. You got to really be smarter with your money. And I know that NFL's tried to do that, NBA maybe trying to do that. And I've had friends too who are in we both do, in the therapy profession. I had one who was close to the wrestling business and that. And he often mentioned what a great job maybe it would be to try to become a therapist on the road, like a road therapist maybe should be required by all these teams, not just the league itself, but every sports franchise should maybe have a traveling therapist with them at all times.
So again, I ask you, do you think this Dark Side of the Ring is a good show for people to see, or do you think it's just exploiting wrestling and showing what happens to wrestlers outside of, because I'm sure it's other sports too, football, other things probably cause the same type of frustration for athletes when they're done with they're being tossed aside, they have all these mental problems. Do you think this is something that's exploiting this type of business to make it look even worse than it is?
I would say yes, only because I was listening to this same type of discussion between two of the wrestlers. I don't want to say if it was the K100 with Conan, Disco Inferno from the WCW days. I think some of them have said that it is exploited to the fact that it really shows the obviously it's called Dark Side of the Ring, the darker side of wrestling. And yeah, not all of those cases end up like that. Obviously, some people have a very good lifestyle, make a huge difference, go on to movies, whatever, whatnot. Obviously, that's probably smaller than the ones from this era that we're talking about, like the Doinks. And unfortunately, a lot of the heroes, wrestling heroes and villains that we knew of back in the day, a lot of them are unfortunately gone. Some of them had rough lives, and by the grace of God, like Jake the Snake would say, I'm still here. why am I still here? You know, but he's a success story too, though. He turned it around thanks to DDP, and those are good stories to show. I think maybe if this was a something that could mix sort of the good and the bad, it might be a little more redeeming. But you know, it's tough because a lot of them are heart wrenching because it's dark side of the ring. So when you watch that stuff, and these are characters and real human beings, more importantly, that we grew up watching, it's sad to see an end like that to a guy like that. Sad to see what he did before he died too, and I'm sure he regretted those things that he did, you know, in and out of the ring. But you know, it's like that's why again, mental health is very, you know, we both would know. I mean, anybody who's lived on this earth so long, we've had our ups and downs, man. Like mental health is real. You got to take that stuff seriously. And a lot of these leagues, and yeah, you make a great point with the aggressive nature of the sports. Yeah, you got to really have maybe some good therapists and counselors on board to help these people deal with. If you're injured and you're used to letting out the aggression, well, maybe the gym isn't enough, or maybe you can't get that out while you're injured. Like, you know, how these guys supposed to, and girls too, you know, supposed to cope when this stuff ends. So
I just think it's funny that when the media always says like this one, the golf one, the MMA fighter beating up a golfer in there, and they somehow have to put it in there like MMA fighter beat up dad, and it's like no, it's two dudes fighting, whether he's trained or not, or MMA fighter or whatever the fuck he is, he's still a guy fighting another guy. And because of his background, it doesn't mean that he has to pull back when he feels threatened. And so when people are like, oh, he should have been, nah, you know, sometimes I think that when you're in a profession where you're an aggressive person, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get aggressive people anywhere. And
when you're being held by someone and another person, regardless of who they are, is trying to run across the stage and kick you in the gonads, you're going to just kick them across the stage no matter who they are, no matter what.
I always bring that up. Jesus Christ, man. You know how long ago that happened?
It's the funniest freaking story ever, I think.
Because I kicked somebody that tried to kick me, a little bastard.
Yeah, you kicked that person. You kicked them across the stage is what you did, which is hysterical, I think. Somewhere the other end of that story had to have been told at some point. And then he kicked me across the stage right about when I was going to kick him in the nuts.
Dude, she did. She punched me in the nuts.
She punched you in the nuts,
She punched me in the nuts.
And she was going to do it again?
In the nuts. And then when the bouncers held me up to keep me from hunching over because I got punched in the nuts,
she's going to do it again.
Then she ran at me to do it again. And when she ran at me to do it again, I did a total, like a roadhouse sidekick to her chest. And I was trying to keep, I was 20 years old, 21 years old. So I was just
like one of those cheesy Van Damme movies.
You can't.
I was just trying to make sure that I didn't get hurt again. They weren't helping me. So here for my birthday, my brother sent me over this video and I put my face on it. Have you seen it?
No, I don't think so.
Dude, you didn't see this thing? This is funny. So this is the Warrior. Ultimate Warrior training.
I don't think I have. Maybe I did.
He's training.
Oh yeah. No, I remember that. You posted that with the bar, and
he's like 50 fucking reps.
52 years on this earth.
Yeah, so my brother thought I was 52, but I thought it was funny. So he said,
"Go, fuck that! You can't. 52 fucking years I've been on this."
That kind of looks like me. I put my face on him. That looks like
yeah. If you had a little stub of hair, yeah, there you go.
Fucking planet. Fuck.
The way he says it so many times. Fuck.
That was like 2 years before he died. I didn't even know that was that close. It felt like that happened like way before he did the Hall of Fame shit. But
did he?
52, unless he was almost 52 and he was rounding up. But yeah, he died at 54, didn't he?
Something like that.
Yeah. 2 more years. 2 more years. He's.
So
what the hell are you playing?
So I took this thing and I tried to make it like a funny voice. And I have this video editing
It's like-
I have this
this is
video editing
gibberish.
software. Wait till you see it. So it was supposed to be like a young person's voice.
Sounds like Cartman.
And for some freaking reason, it sounds like this. And dude, can you see it?
I could see the screen now. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is.
This is so. What? It makes no sense. Like it's trying to pick up the audio, and this is what it comes out.
So that you know what that so it's trying to make the video sound like what's his name from South Park, the handicapped
It's
kid?
just trying to make it sound like it's just trying to make it sound like a young person's voice, but the way it watch it pick up the other voice too.
I think you found the secret of South Park here. What the hell they do when they do the voices?
It's picking up the other kid's voice too. He's like, yeah. He's like,
You can't even hear the fuck on there. You accidentally stumbled across the South Park editing software.
It doesn't even sound right. It just sounds so funny. All right.
Anybody who's complaining at you at work, that's what they sound like now.
The way
Coach JC.
you know, halfway through this podcast, I figured out that I turned down the volume on the Zoom, and that's why you sound so far away.
Thanks. Why is you the problem?
All of it. All of us were like, well, like the first part of this podcast is like,
spoken word tour. Welcome in audio narration of fighting on the internet.
Oh, look at that. They're fighting already. I can't hear you. Get closer to the mic. Okay.
Then on the opposite end of it, 20 minutes later.
That's like SpongeBob. A few minutes later. We're super loud.
52 years on this earth.
Fuck you.
Fuck.
Fuck. So
I hate working at this place. Fuck.
So when I see that guy, I see that guy too. Remember that guy used to be like a fucking dude. He was like the dude. And then his life got yanked away from him too. So they never did a Dark Side of the Ring of the Ultimate Warrior yet, have they?
Ooh, they did something on him. Maybe that's something else I was thinking of.
Because I've yet to see that one. And that one, I think I've met that guy twice. And
did you for real?
He's a super nice guy.
He was cool. I met him at a comic convention. He was one of my all-time favorites growing up. I still have his original shirt, his wall hanging.
Oh,
yeah, I loved it because he was just intense. He was just like a ball of intensity. Yeah, he wasn't the greatest wrestler, but he was intense as hell.
So the first time we met him was me and my brother, and we're working out at Powerhouse, and it was empty. It was like at 9 o'clock at night. We only got 3 minutes here. I'll wrap this up.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was at 9 o'clock at night, and he was just over the stationary bike, long hair. He had a hood up, and he was just riding the bike. And my brother walks in, and he goes, "Jesus, that guy's gigantic." And I go, "That dude is fucking huge. That guy's got to be a football player or something." So we go to because you couldn't see his face because his hair was down. He was just kind of looking around. And my brother goes up to the guy at the desk and he goes, "Dude, who's that guy? Like a professional athlete?" And he goes, "That's the Ultimate Warrior, some kind of wrestler or something." I go, "Holy fuck, is the Ultimate Warrior?" So then my brother's like, "Oh my God, I got to get a signature or something from him for my business." And the guy's like, "Nah, I wouldn't mess with him, dude. He doesn't look real happy." And so he was doing leg press, and believe it or not, he was doing leg press with like just 145 on each side, nothing super huge. And he walks by and he's super tall. And my brother goes, "Excuse me, sir." And he goes, "Ugh." And I just looked at him. I go, "Do I want to fuck with him? Man? He might fucking pick you up over his head, like, and just throw you across the gym." So my brother was just persistent, so he waited for him outside the gym, and he came out and he was like, "Excuse me," and the guy was like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And then it was just like total relaxed person. And
Yeah.
so the next time I saw him, I went to his gym in Scottsdale. He had a fitness facility, and he had his
Yeah.
dog, and he had a ring inside the gym, and I met him there.
He had a school. Was that a school?
Yeah, it was like well, they said it was gonna be a school, but at the time it was
Yeah.
brand new. It was
Oh,
called
okay.
Warriors or something.
Yeah,
Huge
Warrior
gym,
U. Yeah,
fucking
Warrior
huge,
University.
but he had a ring in the middle, and like one of the guys there said, yeah, he like goes in there sometimes and runs the ropes and dicks around in there and stuff.
You don't think about some of the stupid shit when you meet a celebrity. Like all I asked him, he was my favorite growing up, was, "Hey, you gonna train referees at that school?" I'm not gonna train referees, kid. He's laughing. And that's the only fucking thing. And he signed his comic. That was the only interaction I had with one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I asked him if he would train referees. Ric Flair. I meet Ric Flair. I know we're almost out of time.
Are
You gonna wrestle Shane? You gonna wrestle Shane Douglas? Because I was an ECW fan. Ric Flair, one of the greatest wrestlers. That's the stupidest shit you could ask him. I'm gonna wrestle. Will I wrestle Shane Douglas?
Are you gonna?
He signs my hats.
Are you gonna have a? Are you gonna do specialized shoelaces for your boots next time you're in the ring?
Bret Hart, you just babble on of how much you love. But the alternate thing is Bret Hart. You're just babbling about how everything he's done, like in wrestling, how much he meant to you and stuff. He's just trying to get through the signing. Like so many of these interactions, I wish I just would have like, thanks, man, appreciate you. You know, like
Right.
when I met Kane, thanks for all the sacrifice you did. You know,
Me
That's all you could say.
listen as we finish with golf fighting. Remember to subscribe, check it out, and
it's gonna do a suplex on him.
Yeah, look at him. I don't know what he's doing. It's really bad
He's
fight though.
Front
Remember
face
to
on.
watch us. Watch us on YouTube.